lie. Don't do the no lie. Don't do my part. Don't sing I'm loud. Even though you know be a drug addict, do your part to make highness for no carry them. Even though you never, even though you want to, but really no bother. They go on do you, even though you didn't know. Now you know, drug abuse is battle. You know, you know we gonna do me. You didn't do my, you didn't do my body. You don't know nobody. You don't buy some, you don't buy somebody. You don't know you never, you don't know you want to. Why you know what big old wound do you didn't know, you didn't know, now you know, drug abuse is battle. Don't even, your friend says it's cool, don't fall for it, don't fall for it. Even, the country hard. Don't fall for it, drug abuse is battle. Even though you never, even though you want to, but really no bother. They go on do you, even though you didn't know. Now you know, drug abuse is battle. Even though we gonna do me, you didn't do my, you didn't do my body. Even though you know by me, you don't buy some, you don't buy somebody. Even though you never, even though you want to, but you know what big old wound do you know, you didn't know, now you know, drug abuse is battle. You know, you didn't know, now you know, drug abuse is battle.
Friday, the of September 2025. This is the 154th edition of NDLA's Open Forum on X Space, and I'm your host, Femi Babafemi. Welcome and a very good afternoon to all our compatriots joining us from across Nigeria, talking of those joining us from the northeast, northwest, north central, south, southeast, and southwest of Nigeria. We also cannot but appreciate and acknowledge all our compatriots joining us from across the world, talking of other parts of Africa, the rest of Africa, Europe, America, Asia, and the Middle East. As I said, this is the NDLA's Open Forum on X Space. We live from Abuja. It's our pleasure to have you join us this day, and we do hope we're going to be having a very pleasant and enjoyable conversation. Indeed, we are always certain that our conversation would have quite a lot of insights that will benefit each and every one of us. So please invite your friends, share the links, and let's have a beautiful conversation. We have our guest speaker already well seated on the space, and in a short while from now, we will be formally introducing him. We'll take a listen to his presentation, and as usual, as we do it, we would be interrogating his presentation, asking questions, and sharing information, knowledge, and experiences. That's how we do it every week on this platform. It's a platform where we share information, knowledge, and raise awareness about substance abuse and its devastating impact on human lives, public health, and indeed our environment. It's also a platform that serves as a channel of providing support to those struggling with substance abuse, especially those who need treatment. It's called a means for us to update you about some of the activities of the agency, especially what we're doing to curb the scourge of substance abuse and illicit drug trafficking, as well as getting your feedback, which is also very key and important to us, so that we can continue to improve on what we do to serve you, our society, and indeed humanity better. I would also like to inform every one of us that this conversation is recorded and is streamed live on our other social media handles, especially at NDLA01 on Facebook and at NDLA TV on YouTube. We would like to appreciate all of our compatriots joining us from across all the platforms that we have mentioned. Thank you very much. Benefit from the great insights that this platform is known for. Before I invite our guest to make his presentation, let's which we do in this news highlight segment, which will be taken by Neta and Peace. By the way, Neta has been on vacation for the past 6 weeks thereabouts. She's back now. Welcome, Neta. Let's have the update for this week. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The NDLEA news highlights for the week. First, the headlines. NDLEA smashes drug cartel, arrests three kingpins, seizes 5.3 billion naira Australia-bound cocaine. other 8 years ago. Meanwhile, a Milan, Italy based Nigerian, Gabriel Michael, was on Friday, 5th September, arrested by NDLEA operatives at the departure hall of Terminal 1 of the Lagos airport while attempting to board an Air France flight to Italy. He was found to have concealed a by NDLEA officers and men of Nigeria Customs and other security agencies at the West Africa Container Terminal, WACT, Port Harcourt Port Complex on River State on Thursday, 4th September. The container, which has 220 cartons of ceramic sanitary wares used as cover for the codeine syrup, was one of the shipments watch listed and tracked by a special operations unit of NDLEA, while the illicit consignment has an estimated street value of over 1.1 billion naira. In the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, NDLEA operatives on a stop and search operation on Thursday, 4th September, arrested a dispatch rider, Joel Bernard, in Guarimpa area of the FCT, while conveying 3.1 kilograms Colorado, a synthetic strain of cannabis. In Lagos, NDLEA operatives acting on credible intelligence on Monday, 1st September, arrested the duo of Tunde Ayinla and Olawale Omotare while loading four distribution vehicles at their number 28 Ola Street, Ijesha, Surulere home. Recovered from them include 9 kilograms of Canadian loud, 5 kilograms of Colorado, and 1,101 compressed blocks of Ghana loud weighing 611 kilograms, bringing the total weight of the combined seizures to 625 kilograms. In another raid in Lagos, operatives on Friday, 5th September, arrested a couple, Andy David and Andy Esther, with 24.4 kilograms of skunk, a strain of cannabis recovered from their home in Ajegunle area of the state, while 45-year-old Musa Isa was arrested with 53.400 kilograms skunk concealed in two cartons in the trunk of his Toyota Aventus car marked ABC 338SS in Kogi State. Yunusa Zakari was nabbed in a follow-up operation in Auchi, Edo State on Friday, 5th September in connection with the earlier seizure of 233 kilograms skunk in Kakao, Kaduna State. No less than 11,000 pills of tramadol were recovered from his suspect, Ayuk Nelson, when he was arrested by NDLEA operatives on Wednesday, 3rd September, at number 61 Bida Road, Onitsha, Anambra State, just as operatives on patrol along Mina Bida Road, Niger State, on Tuesday, 2nd September, intercepted a white Toyota Hilux vehicle. A search led to the seizure of 30 bags of skunk weighing 342 kilograms, while the driver, Afolayan Ayodele, conveying the consignment, was arrested. In Taraba State, a total of 18,750 kilograms of skunk were destroyed on 7.5 hectares of cannabis plantations at Joro Ade Village, Ardokola local government area, on Tuesday, 2nd September. Owners of the two farms, Marco Zamar and Sani Titus, were arrested during the operation. While commending the officers and men of the Murtala Muhammad International Airport (MMIA), the Port Harcourt Port Complex, Lagos (FCT), Anambra, Taraba, Kaduna, Kogi, and Niger commands of the agency for the arrests and seizures of the past week, Chairman, Chief Executive Officer of NDLEA, Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa retired, enjoined them and their colleagues across the country to intensify the ongoing balanced approach to the drug control efforts of the agency. That's it on arrest and seizures. Next is the update on some of the weather activities across the country for the week, brought to you by my colleague, Peace.
Thank you, Netta. My name is Peace the Pastor, and here are some of the weather activities across the country for the week. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, is leading Nigeria's resolute battle against substance abuse with its impactful War Against Drug Abuse WADA social advocacy initiative. This is not merely a campaign. WADA has evolved into a formidable national movement that empowers the people to drive change. Its reach surpasses governmental efforts, actively promoting prevention and recovery across classrooms, bustling marketplaces, vital transport hubs, and places of worship. In every one of these vital spaces, WADA's message is clear. Let understanding triumph over fear. Let awareness shatter ignorance. And let support replace rejection. By equipping Nigerians with the tools, courage, and confidence to engage in open conversations, encourage the recovery, and embrace responsibility, the NDLEA is not merely steering the nation away from the grave dangers of the drug menace. It is uniting the country under a banner of recovery, accountability, and renewed hope. WADA epitomizes the essence of true national unity, a collective commitment to confronting and defeating the scourge of drug abuse for the sake of our families, communities, and shared future. In line with this, on Monday, 1st September 2025, the Enugu State Command of NDLEA took decisive action in its War Against Drug Abuse WADA initiative by delivering a compelling sensitization lecture to members of the Traditional Medicine Practitioners Association in Agu local government area. The lecture not only highlighted the serious dangers of substance abuse, but also underscored the crucial responsibility of practitioners to promote safe and healthy alternatives as key influencers within their communities. Recognizing the influence of traditional institutions in community mobilization, on Wednesday, 3rd September 2025, the Kogi State Strategic Command of NDLEA paid a WADA advocacy visit to His Royal Highness Alhaji Abdurrahim Ahmed Ogidu, the Ohi of Ohima and chairman of the Okehi Local Government Council of Traditional Rulers. The engagement reinforced the critical role of traditional rulers as gatekeepers in mobilizing grassroots support against drug abuse, fostering a culture of discipline, and enhancing community resilience. Sustaining the week's advocacy efforts, on Thursday, 4th September, the Kano State Strategic Command of NDLEA delivered an enlightening lecture for ward heads in the Kano Municipal Council. The session emphasized the essential role that community leaders play in early intervention, promoting vigilance and discouraging illicit drug use at the neighborhood level. Concluding the week's impactful WADA activities, the Zone 4 command of the agency conducted a sensitization lecture for officers and men of the Nigerian Correctional Service in Lafia, Nasarawa State. The session focused on the dangers of drug abuse among incarcerated individuals, the importance of rehabilitation, and the crucial role of correctional officers in fostering discipline and encouraging behavioral change within custodial centers. That's the update for this week. My name is Peace, and I hand you over to our host, Mr. Femi Babafemi.
All right, thank you very much there. Peace and Netta, welcome back from the news highlight segment. Now let's remind ourselves about some of our rules of engagement on this platform. Please note that when we approve you to be on the speaker's corner, you are expected to remain muted until after the presentation of our guest speaker today, who is ready for us now. And when you that happens, please ensure that you remain muted until after his presentation, and then we'll start to invite each and everyone to um, ask their questions or make their contributions. And when we do this, please let's also ensure that we make it very brief and precise so that we can take contributions and questions from as many people as possible. Usually, just like we have questions here on X space here, we also have people who join us on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook page, and they are in our DM with questions so that as we allow people here to speak directly to us, we also read the questions from others on listening, joining us via other platforms. So that's why we encourage us to make it as brief as possible and straight to the point so that we can manage the time we have with us to be able to have a real good interactive conversation. All right, so please let's follow these guidelines so that we all can enjoy the whole thing. Quickly, let's remind you about the NDLA's call center. At the center, we have professionals talking of counselors, clinical psychologists, as well as psychiatric doctors who work 24/7 every day of the week. They are there and they're ready to pick your calls via our toll-free helpline, which is 0800 10203040. Our toll-free helpline is 0800, that is 0800 That's a toll-free helpline. Quite a number of people sometimes. It's a 12-digit number. They think is the usual regular GSM number. No, this is a 12 digits. There is this double zero after 08. That's 0800 10203040. That's the number to dial. Quite a number of people remove one of the zeros and then they said they can't reach us or the number is switched off or it's not reachable. Please dial the correct number. You will definitely get us, and you have our experts attending to your needs and they're ready to provide you support at all times of the day. Talking of morning, afternoon, evening, night, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., they are all there working 24/7, ready to attend to your needs, offer you support and assistance so that we can get you can get the needed help. This is to further deepen the availability of support to those who are down in at the grassroots level or in the communities. And one of the things we have also done to ensure that this really gets down to the rural areas is to ensure that for those who cannot speak English or Pidgin, this service is also is language sensitive, meaning that they can speak with you in any of the three major Nigerian languages outside Yoruba, Igbo. So this is to further ensure that no one is denied or the offer or the availability of this service wherever they may be located in any part of the country. That's for our center. Thank you everyone for your patience. Now let's get to introduce formally our guest speaker today, who is no other person than Dare Asobele. I pray I get that right. I did ask for the right pronunciation. But I know I'm very certain about that. But then the Asobele, I'm sure I got it. Please permit me or forgive me if I didn't get that right. He is the founder and coordinator of Anti-Suicide and Depression Squad, ASATS. Dara Sobele is a dedicated mental health advocate and social impact leader with a profound commitment to fostering well-being. Since 2013, he's been a driving force in the nonprofit sector, specifically through his leadership of ASAT, that's Anti-Suicide and Depression Squad, and the Executives Helping Initiative. I had Usma, please remain muted so that I don't remove you from the speaker's corner. Please, uh, we did uh, we did explain this earlier. That's Usma Ibrahim Daudawa. Please ensure you remain muted until after the presentation by our guest speaker. All right, still trying to introduce our guest speaker today. I did say that he is the founder and the coordinator of ASAD, and then also the executives helping initiative, that's EHI, a he. Over the past 12 years, Dari has mobilized and worked with over 1,000 volunteers and counting, building an effective system and a robust network to support vulnerable populations. As the founder and coordinator of ASAS, Dare is passionately committed to creating safe places for mental health conversations, raising awareness, and ensuring access to vital support for individuals battling depression and suicidal ideation across Nigeria. Under his guidance, ASAT has conducted mental health training for diverse organizations, including banks, faith-based institutions, and NGOs. He's also organized he also organizes the annual Mental Health Peace Conference, an innovative event that blends spoken word artistry with crucial mental health dialogue. Dare's ultimate vision for ASAS is to make mental health support as accessible and normalized as physical health care in Nigeria. He also spearheads the Executives Helping Initiative, EHI, an organization dedicated to supporting vulnerable populations. This includes orphans, prisoners, cancer patients, and individuals with sickle cell anemia, all beneficiaries of strategic interventions and volunteer driven programs under his leadership. Please join me in welcoming Dare Asobele as I invite him to unmute himself while we listen to him spend the next 20-30 minutes discuss our topic for today, that is empowering adolescents against depression, peer pressure, and online drug culture in digital age. Please go ahead, Dare. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me, everyone. It's a privilege to be here. Usman, can you mute your mic? You're interrupting.
Usman, for the last time, if you interrupt again, I'll remove you, please.
Okay. All right, so I would just go ahead because of time. Thank you so much, Mr. Femi, for introducing me. Hi, everyone. For those of us wondering, ASAD means Anti-Suicide and Depression Squad. I love the topic. I mean, this is something we've been working on for over 8 years in ASAD. And the topic is empowering adolescents against depression, peer pressure, and online drug culture in the digital age. So the truth is, adolescence is like one of the most sensitive and defining phases of life. I'm sure we all agree, because it's the period where most children are sort of, going through self-discovery. Their identity formation is, coming, and then having to deal with the emotional turbulence, basically. And so, personally, right, in many years of working with young people across Lagos through ASADS, I have personally had to witness, like, firsthand the weight of, peer pressure, depression, and the fast spreading online drug culture place on their shoulders. And so these challenges are not just abstract statistics, they are real, lived experiences that shape the future. And so I think the first part we should look at is what exactly is even the reality of peer pressure in the digital age. Now, the truth is that peer pressure has always existed, right? But the fact is that digital age has sort of amplified it, right? Whereby young people are no longer only comparing themselves with their classmates or neighbors, but they now measure their worth against created online lifestyles, right? And there are two experiences that come to mind for me. I recall a 14-year-old boy in Surulere who would confess to, taking codeine simply because his friends recorded themselves, drinking it on social media, and he didn't even like the taste, but he was just desperate just to try and fit in because, like, the social media buzz. Then I also remember a 16-year-old girl in Ikeja who admitted that she had joined an online challenge, right, where groups of people were taking drugs, right, and they had glamorized it, right. So the validation she got from the likes, comments, mattered more than the harmful effect that it was even having on her health, basically. And so these stories are they don't just even highlight the urgent need for adolescents to learn critical thinking, self-confidence, and the courage to say no when it is unpopular. So it's very important that the new generation of adolescents are able to say no even when it seems unpopular, right? And then secondly, we look at depression. So for those of us that don't know this, um, depression is the gradual loss of interest in certain activities, usually for a minimum period of 2 weeks, right? And for those of us that are not aware of the statistics, every 40 seconds, someone takes their life. So what that means is that every year you have about 800,000 people dying by suicide. In Nigeria, we're over 200 million. And we don't even have up to 1,000 registered mental health professionals. And so what that means is that even if we had 1,000, one person has to attend to about 200,000 people, which is impossible, right? And so depression amongst adolescents is often overlooked in Nigeria because everyone is looking at what exactly are they dealing with? They are not even yet working. You get there's where we beat it down, right? So where their emotional struggles are seen as they are being stubborn, right? We don't pay attention to it. So I'm trying to speak to those of us that are parents or about to get into that space so that we don't forget. But I've sat in rooms with teenagers, right, where they carry invincible wounds, right? You look at, you know, I remember a 15-year-old about 2 or 3 years ago went to Ajegunle talking about how, when he was thinking of self-harming because people had ridiculed him in class or maybe because he went out because of his background, right? And so you have a lot of kids where they are dealing with a lot. There's a program where we call Assad Store where we go to secondary schools to talk to these kids. I remember a girl talking about the fact that, she lost her father, right? And she confided that she would go online doing research on, what are the various forms of suicide that she can, commit, or rather, how can she commit suicide? What are the various ways? What can she use, basically to be able to just go because of all of these issues? And I decided to give real life examples so that everyone understands that these young people are not just statistics, right? They are children, neighbors, classmates, or friends. And depression, if left unaddressed, sorry guys, and depression, if can everyone hear me? Yeah, so and depression, if left unaddressed, can lead to tragic outcomes. And this is why, safe space, peer support groups, and mental health education must be prioritized, basically, especially when we're dealing with these things, right? And then maybe the third thing we can also look at is the rise of online drug culture, right? And the truth is, digital platforms have sort of created a dangerous shift in how adolescents adolescents rather encounter drugs. So unlike the past where the exposure came through maybe physical peer groups, right? Today's exposure is now global and constant. So songs, memes, influencer skits, and viral challenges now normalize the use of codeine, tramadol, cannabis, and even more dangerous synthetic substances. And so through Assad's outreach in schools across Lagos, we've seen how quickly the trend spread, right? So in one instance, like the students in Agege, they mimicked an online um, cough syrup challenge that originated abroad, right? Not fully understanding the risks. And so within days, 3 students were hospitalized. And so the highlights just show how the online culture, if continued being left unchecked, can become a pipeline that introduces adolescents to substance long before they are matured enough to even understand the consequences. Because sometimes most of these consequences are not immediately; they are long term, right? And so there's a need for us to build resilience in adolescence, right? And resilience is not just about shielding the young people from challenges, but it's also about equipping them on how to face these challenges. Because the truth is that, I mean, we are all working hard to send our children to school, but we can't guarantee the kinds of people that they will meet in school. And most times, people do things as a result of influence. So there's a need for us to teach, like, life skills education. So teaching them decision making, that every action comes with a consequence, right? Emotional regulation, coping strategies, because even being in Nigeria, life will be tough. There will be challenges. And then there's also a need for mentorship, right? Pairing these adolescents with like positive role models who can guide them is really important. And digital literacy, training them, how to be able to critically evaluate online content and resist harmful trends. It's not every trend everyone should get on, basically. So, and the other part I was also going to touch on is strengthening family and community roles, right? What role does the family play? What role does the community play? Right? Because the truth is that the family is like the first line of defense. And the truth is, adolescents thrive in environments where they feel heard, where they feel loved, where they feel guided. And so parents must balance discipline with empathy, right? I know, like, for those of us in Nigeria, they have to flog us for us to be able to get sense or, know how to do things. But we have to now throw in the mix. Sometimes, maybe, do you want to explain the reason why you are about to take this action so that they can understand? Do you get? It's not only about grades, but also even checking on the emotions and friendships, right? What kind of friends are they keeping? What kind of people are around them? Because you're not going to be there every time in school. For those of us in Nigeria, I'm sure we saw recently, some years back, how some students at a particular school. I don't want to mention any school, so I'm not sued. You know, young students at GS1 already even having sex, doing all manner of things. And if you trace it as a result of them having access to mommy or daddy's phone and then seeing these things basically. So it's just very important that the communities must provide safe spaces, youth clubs, after school programs or mentorship opportunities that just sort of offer a positive alternative to drugs and depression. And the most important part is also like creating that supportive environment that inspires hope, because they are learning from mommy and dad. So it's whatever they see at home, they will mimic. It's whatever they see in school, whatever they are watching online. So we need to create that environment, just like what we are doing right now, having this conversation so that many of us on the call that have kids, have cousins, you're able to learn from everything we're talking about, right? But the underlining goal is what exactly is the key to empowering adolescents, especially in this day and age. So we have to understand that work has to be done in the school because they will go to school. You have religious centers, whether it's the mosques or the church, work has to be done there. What are we teaching them there? At the same time, community, what kind of community are they from? Right? I'm sure many of us know that there are certain communities that there's already a stereotype, right? That if someone is coming from this community, this is how they end up, this is how they behave. And then also digital platforms, right? If this event that we're having right now was a musical concert, I promise you have tens of millions of people. But we're having something that is very educative, right? And you can see the numbers of people that are here, because nowadays people don't want to be able to, get education. They don't want to know better. But based on personal findings, a lot of times people do things not because they are necessarily stupid, but it's because they are ignorant, right? And so we need to be able to create that supportive environment that can inspire hope, where the teachers in schools are able to talk to the kids, they feel comfortable. Whether it's the church or mosques, they can be able to talk to the imam, the pastor, the communities where community members are able to observe what exactly it is that is going on, and just put in certain measures. I know now on Instagram you can control what the kids have access to on social media platform now, basically, and which is why for us at ASAS we have a program called ASAD Store every year, where we go to different secondary schools, train the students on leadership, promote mental wellness, encourage drug-free lifestyle. This is something we're always saying to them, and this in itself has given a couple of the young people that we of their growth, right? Basically, and so because I also want to hear from everyone, my conclusion will be this: the truth is that adolescents today are facing so much pressure that are even more complex than before, from depression, peer influence, and the allure, it's just like an attraction to this drug culture is so loud. Um, but yet, some of them are resilient, right? Because the truth is that not everyone that is doing it, right? Some of them are resilient, they are creative, and they're even capable of transformation. And so, by equipping them with the right knowledge, right? Strengthening the family, giving community support, providing hopeful alternatives, we can raise the generation that not only even survives on challenges, but even thrives beyond them. So, my charge to everyone is it's a collective responsibility. It's not only the fact that the person has to be your child, right? It's about what can we do when we see something is wrong. And so, empowering adolescents is not just an investment now, it's an investment in the future, right? It's an investment in the future of our nation, because we see some of our political leaders, they were once adolescents, right? And these are some of the exposures that they've had. And so it's our responsibility to work together to see what we can do to, make things better. So that's my presentation, and I'm hoping we can engage, talk about practical ways together as a team. So thank you so much for having me in the LEA. So so that's it for me. Thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you very much there. That our guest speaker today has been able to make it very brief and precise. That's Dari Asobele. Thank you very much for your time. Dari is the founder and coordinator of ASAD. That's his organization. He's also the coordinator and the founder of HEHI, that's Executives Helping Initiative. By the way, ASAT, like we said before, is an acronym for his organization, that's Anti-Suicide and Depression Squad, ASAT. All right, thank you very much once again for your presentation. Let's quickly recognize some of our compatriots on this space before we for now, anybody that wants to make a contribution or ask questions, this is the time to request for the mic, and then we'll approve you to be on the speakers. That's
Okay, thank
Joshua.
you.
Can you mute yourself? All right, thank you very much, there. Peace. Quickly, let's quickly introduce some of our compatriots. So first, we have to appreciate everyone joining us on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. Thank you very much for being there. We recognize and appreciate all of you. On X here, we have some of our compatriots, some senior members of the platform who are consistent with us here. We have Dr. James Komolafe. Dr. James Komolafe, thank you for finding time to be here today again. We also have Dr. Abdul Wahab Abdullahi. Dr. Abdul Wahab Abdullahi is a consultant psychiatrist at the Ahmadu Bello University Teaching Hospital Zaria. Thank you very much, Dr. Abdullahi. We have Niger Health Hub. Thank you, Niger Health Hub. I also have that's Dr. Loretta Ekanem. I have seen her just strolling a while ago. Dr. Loretta is it's a senior member of this platform. She joins us from Chicago, Illinois. Thank you very much, Loretta. We have Funsho Jimo, Mohammed Bafo, Basiru Rikadawa Ibrahim, Lady Diane Lauren. Thank you for coming around again today. We have Abdul Malik Yahaya. Thank you. We have Cornelius Shimaroke, Drug Abuse and Illicit Sex. That's an NGO. We also have John Omozopia, and I've seen Itohan Ekpemiata Olani. Thank you, Itohan. Thank you, Euphemia. We also have Ian David James, Victoria Osheshi. That's another regular member of this platform. Pascal Iwebu, another regular member. I've seen one of our senior officers, Dr. Jonah Kolo. Thank you, Dr. Kolo there. We have Alma Kamas, Prince Isaac, Habibu Musa, Morgan Prevention, Bandele, I am me, I draw, Andrew, Health Situations, that's at Ngozi Ibe. Okay, let's take a pause here so that we can start attending to some of the questions in our DM. But first, let's see who is there. Okay, yes, Habibu Musa. Let's take the first intervention or question or contribution from Habib Musa here on X here. Please go ahead, unmute yourself, and let's listen to you. Oh, just at the point I asked him to go ahead, he slipped off from the speakers. He lost, I guess, his network failed in there. All right. Okay. Let me quickly take. Okay, I have Dr. James. Dr. James is like Dr. James. If you are ready, please go ahead. Dr. James Komalafe, if you are stable, let's go. Or I'll take some dive into our DM to take some questions. Okay. If Dr. James is not okay, so this is Abu Bakar. Abu Bakar is asking, first commending the guest speaker. Okay, Dr. James, please go ahead if you can hear me quickly.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, my brother, Dare Asobele. I think the pronunciation, Mr. Femi Baba Femi, is Dare Asobele.
Okay, I got it right. Correction, please. Thank you very much, Dr. James.
Yes, my brother, good to hear you, and very succinct, direct exposition there about what you do. Kudos to you for the great work there. My question is just to find out all this effort you've been doing, do you have a monitoring and evaluation procedure intact that captures these various violations so that with that you can be able to take some certain informed decision that will cohere with what NDLEA is doing and some other relevant stakeholders. And then two, you have a framework that enables you to track, tame, trunk, and possibly trash these malices where you cannot trash them. What do you do in an attempt to ensure that at the tail end of your intervention, we have that positive result that dovetails into an answer? Thank you very much, my brother.
All right, thank you there,
All
Dr.
right.
James. Okay, let our guest speaker go ahead now.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. James. Yes, you got it. I'm tempted to ask if you are from Kogi State because you were able to like get the pronunciation right. Or yeah. So in terms of monitoring and evaluation, yes, we do, but we don't just work alone. So we have like partner organizations that we work with. In terms of referring cases that like are really severe to like other agencies or other therapists that we can work with. I'm also happy now that I have access to one of the reps from the NDLEA, and I was really excited when I heard that they have access to professionals working 24/7. So that I'm hoping that maybe as a result of this, we can have a partnership where we can easily refer some of these major cases to the team, and these people will not be prosecuted but rather get the help that they need, because one of the things we've observed is that people don't want to reach out or ask for help because of the fear of the sanctions that they might have or they might have to deal with. So I'm definitely hoping to see how we can improve in terms of being able to refer cases that are very very severe, especially the ones that we cannot handle, maybe we don't have the capacity at the moment to be able to handle. Then in terms of our monitoring, yes, we do. Like I said, we have a report. So we use Excel sheets where we keep data. We have all of the data that we have. So we have a means where we track the locations across Lagos that we've been able to work and look at the indicators. And then also we tried our best to see how we can engage some of the schools. But some of the challenges we have there is that some of the schools, they already have their curriculum, and so they are very very particular about having new people come and share this particular framework. But based on what you said, maybe I'm definitely open to partnership to see how we can push what we have, or maybe even send you what we have, and it's something you can go over, and then we can see how we can improve it, so that this conversation is not just happening here, but we can also take it to the secondary schools, primary schools, because that is where drug abuse is happening right now. It's already starting there, and just seeing how we can create a safe space. Because the truth is that most times, I remember during my time, you know, people don't want to come forward, especially when they know that there will be sanctions. Basically, so we just have to see how we can make people feel safe, because nowadays people can just hide what they're already doing. Basically, so for us, it's just to improve, have access to more partnerships to see how we can work on our framework and see how we can be better basic. And I'm definitely open to learning from you, Dr. James and the team. So yeah, I don't know if I answered your question. Um, if,
Thank you so very much. Yes, you did.
okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much there. Glad this platform is not just sharing insights, we also network, we connect people with the right partners and stakeholders to further enhance the quality of what we deliver. And that's exactly what our guest speaker has just pushed forward. Looking forward to a collaboration with Dr. James Komolafe. Dr. James Komolafe is an erudite and very versatile man in quite in this field, and is definitely on the table with NDLA also. All right, thank you very much there for the response. And then we'll have, I know it's, I pray Loretta will not greet us good morning now, but then let's give the people in there. Oh, she skipped off. Okay, thank you very much, Loretta. I hope you are not in a train or on the bus. Thank you. Let me quickly take this one from our DM pending. For those that may want to ask questions or contribute, please. Okay, Loretta is back. What happened? At the point I was just about passing the mic to her, she skipped off and then she's back.
Hello.
Okay, Loretta, please go ahead. You skipped
I'm
off just
sorry.
as I was.
It's my network. It's my network.
Oh, network in America. Oh, wow. So there is no.
It's
Let
my
me not
network.
drag you this and this.
Don't drag me. I was switching from my office Wi-Fi to my phone. I was what's the guy's called? I was using my phone. I switched to my phone
Hotspot,
internet.
your hotspot.
Okay,
Okay.
my hotspot. Yeah. The latter part of his presentation. I want to say you did awesome. I just want to ask because I hear you say you work in secondary schools and primary schools, empowering adolescents against depression, peer pressure, and online influences. And I have always been and I'll always be an advocate for families orientation, family-based training and actions.
I just want to confirm if it's my network, but I can't hear.
Definitely, it's not your network, it's her
Okay.
network. But I guess you got the question. You got her question already.
No, I didn't. I don't know if you can help me recap.
Okay, I think Loretta was trying to talk. I mean, ask first. She commended your presentation, and then she referred to your mention of your programs in secondary schools, and uh, I mean, that has always been part of our own advocacy. That's Loretta's advocacy, pushing for families, for I mean, advocacy to individuals, families, and organizations. I think that was actually didn't ask a question. She was obviously on her way to asking a question, and then the network in Chicago went off, and that I think all I could recall. I'm not sure she was obviously going towards the question, but I know she did say talk about your advocacy to secondary schools and trying to say that which was one of the things she's always advocated for. Okay, Loretta, you are back now. Please go ahead.
Can anybody hear me now?
Yeah, we
Yes,
can hear you now.
yes,
Please
we
go
can.
ahead.
Oh, praise the Lord. Okay. So I hear you yapping my Chicago network. If we catch you, we'll report you to Donald Trump. So
Unfortunately, I'm not where you can report me. I'm right in my own home country.
okay. So I was just telling the speaker that he did well with this presentation. But I was just saying that is has he considered um um taking this discussion to PTA groups, PTAs in school, both secondary and primary school, because I mean, whatever is happening to these kids, there's little or nothing, and that's the truth. There's little or nothing we can do at the school level if they have a lot of online influence, and that's what's currently going on. So, if we continue to provide orientation for parents and let them I mean show them or teach them how to monitor their children online. Their deep is to monitor what your kids are watching. I know this might be difficult for the rural areas, but can we also help parents identify those signs, those behaviors, those change in character their kids are exhibiting are likely to be, I mean, negative influence of substance use or something. So that's what I'm just saying. Are you considering it, taking this gospel or taking this, I mean, discussion to PTA meetings. So can we discuss with authorities in school to say, can you give us just 20 minutes to talk about, because it's growing and it's a wildfire that is catching very fast. I hope everybody heard what I said. Thank you.
Yes, I did, and it's definitely something that I'm considering, and the whole team are definitely considering as well. So yeah, we're definitely considering it, and so it's called Assad Store, something we do every year. So we just have like a select secondary school that we go to, but it's something we're definitely considering. And based on what you said, I'll just remind the team because we're going to already start making plans for next year because we're done with this year. So we like planning ahead so that we can just identify some of the schools. And I even feel like I'm even the one learning from the session, in as much as I was one that gave the presentation. And it will also be nice to really connect with you. I'm hoping you're also part of the group, and I was just added recently so that I could also like show you our plans, and then maybe you could also like help us out just to ensure we keep doing this, the partnership of everyone, because it's not just something one man can do, collective effort.
I know I know I'm on the group, and please feel free to, I mean, drop a message there and we'll connect. But I don't want you guys to just consider it. I want you guys to plan towards it. It's not
Yeah,
for the student per se, it's for their parents and teachers. I know the government, I mean, I know NDLA is doing a lot of stuff at the secondary and primary school level. They are doing awesome. I'm super proud of them. But
yeah,
can we, be their extra layer of support for this period? Can we even have, can we train community substance use health providers to go to some communities in the and have cluster parent group meetings? I mean, keep explain to them so that they can quickly identify those signs and they can, they can seek for help, and we can direct them to where they can seek for help. Please don't just, I know you're contributing, let's act on it because, I mean, it's crazy. It's to get. I'm sorry, it's not going to get any better as long as we're in the digital world. Thank you.
yeah. Thank you so much, and I can even feel your passion. Thank you so much. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. Loretta is a firebrand when it comes to this whole issue. Okay, thank you very much. I believe we'll take it off from there. All right. Dr. Komalafe, your network is giving some vibes. I know you are trying to come back, but I approved, but then it wouldn't come on, so you can come back again. All right, let's quickly take this one from Princess Oyeladun. Princess Oyeladun, yes, commending the presentation, and then the question from Princess Oyeladun is okay. Uh, Okay, Dr. James, the same problem, an error adding you. That's obviously your network. You may have to exit and come back. Okay, Princess Oyelado, I'd like to ask our guest speaker to please highlight some of the effective ways that parents and even teachers can engage at adolescents in conversations about mental health, substance use, and online safety without making them feel guilty or stigmatized. This I'm interested in. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much, there, Princess Oyelado. All right.
Okay, yes. So the truth is, if this person is doing this as a parent, you have to be able to build trust, right? You have to be able to build trust through open communication. You know that thing where mommy and daddy will say, "Talk to me. If you tell me the truth, I will not beat you." But the reality is that they might end up beating you. So it's about just creating that safe space where adolescents feel heard without that fear of judgment, which is really important. You want to also ensure you use open ended questions like, how did that post make you feel? Like if it's a particular post online, instead of lectures, you want to be able to hear from them so that they can open up to you. And then just encourage small talks every day, check in 5 to 10 minutes. Then also normalize mental health conversations, right? For parents and teachers, they should talk about stress, right? Anxiety. When me I was in secondary school, thinking about it, I'm like, why am I having 15 lectures, and I'm having so many books, and then I'm going to read for 15 classes. It's a lot. It's a lot. And most of us don't even use those courses nowadays. So it's about having conversations about stress, anxiety, maybe someone is not doing well. And, looking back, a lot of times why many students didn't do well in school was because there were family issues at home. There were things that they were dealing with at home that they couldn't talk about in school. But just having that teacher that could make you feel comfortable, understanding the situation at home can really go a long way. So also just creating that safe space where people can share personal stories. I know that the school is not a therapy center, but just being able to have that favorite teacher that listens to you can go a long way. And then also teaching digital literacy and online safety. Nowadays, with the introduction of AI, you cannot even tell what is fake or what is real. Someone can just come up with any kind of fake news, but just making them go through the necessary processes of knowing, okay, this is fake news, this is a manipulative content, this is not real. Like, just encouraging them to also fact check would also be very important. Then just so you also want to be careful, right? Like I said, you can't really tell the kind of friends that your child might make at school. So it's about encouraging positive peer influence. So you can strategically put them in certain clubs, right? Or maybe training class, training lesson, or whatever it is, where they can be influenced positively, right? So teachers can also create group projects, right? Highlight teamwork, the importance of teamwork, empathy, problem solving. Just creating those scenarios can also really go a long way. And then modeling healthy behavior. Honestly, the kids will copy what they see. So the kids will copy what they see at home. Is if you want the kids, for example, to stay off their phone, or you want them to have limited screen time, they're going to look at you, right? Like, oh, is daddy always on their phone? Is mommy always on their phone? They're going to model what they see in school, what they see at home, basically, right? And then just access to support group, right? Sometimes the kids might not feel comfortable talking to you parents directly. You can just create a situation where you let them know that, see, for example, we all have favorite uncles, favorite aunties. It's okay. You can find a way to just let your brother or sister talk to them if you can't get through to them. So they just have that favorite uncle that they know that, okay, this uncle will not make me feel bad, I can talk about. And then also, reaching out to the NDLEA, reaching out to other platforms, as other mental health organizations, professionals, just creating that space where it's like, if there's any problem, this is where you can go to, right? And then just also teaching them the purpose of journaling. Growing up, we always had books that we wrote our emotions. It was called journaling. I don't know if they still do it nowadays. You could journal, encourage your child to journal, right? Just putting down how they feel each day on book. And, yeah, so those are ways that can work. So in summary, listening before lecturing, normalize mental health talks, equip them with digital skills, not just restrictions, model balance, right? They will model what they see and then just provide real support and systems for them. So those are ways in which you can go about it without them feeling judgmental or feeling like, oh, you're judging them in any way, basically. I hope I was able to answer your question.
All right, I do hope so. I believe so. Loretta is not the quiet type. If she's not satisfied, she will pump in immediately without even waiting for my prompt. Thank you very much, there, Darren, for your response. Let's take the next intervention from Abubakar. Abubakar is asking, from your work, can you say there is any particular way that peer pressure differ between boys and girls? Yeah, I hope you got the question from Abubakar. Yeah, can you hear
Yes,
me?
I did.
Okay,
Yes, I
all right,
did.
please
I
go ahead.
mean, the truth is that, both male and female are different, right? And the truth is that peer pressure for a boy or a girl will be different, basically, right? The truth is that, for example, um, boys are like the ones that would face that pressure to sort of experiment with drugs, alcohol, smoking, right? And the idea is that there's a pressure to prove that you're a man, toughness. So if you are drinking, if you're doing drugs, that is how it is seen. Some girls might do it because of having to date like older men, right? So there's a difference between the kind of pressure that they'll face. For girls, pressure will be in terms of, beauty, body shape, fashion, social media presence, right? For the guys to be more around being athletic, going to the gym, which can also be good, right? I would say like there's some good and negative pressure basically. So yeah, also academic pressure as a man, you are supposed to be smart, all of those things. While for women, the concept is more around social belonging. Basically, then in terms of relationship, there's also the sexual pressure that girls face at a particular age. Having to just do all kinds of things. So the pressure is different for both male and female, basically. So yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Mhm. And
Then this
also,
one.
I would like to
Okay.
add, there's also the pressure of for boys, you are never to show vulnerability, right? You have to be strong. You have to face pressure. Don't show vulnerability, which is also not good. And so yeah.
Okay. I hope you are done now. Okay, let's take this one just coming in from Victoria. Victoria is okay. Actually, there are two questions from Victoria. He's saying, I wouldn't know if what I'm going to ask have been treated, but I joined midway into the presentation by the guest speaker. But I would still like to ask if how how can teenagers learn to say no without losing friendships or being ridiculed? That's our first question. The second question is how can parents monitor and guide their children's digital activities without appearing controlling? Those are the two questions from Victoria. Thank you.
Okay, I think the second question I already sort of answered it a while ago, um, indirectly. But the truth is, it starts at home. Um, in terms of making the children feel comfortable with using the word no, but also explaining the reason behind it. I mentioned in my presentation before that we need to also let them know that every action has a consequence, right? So, you need to let them know that they can say, um, I don't do that or I can't do that, right? For example, let's say a boy in Mushin is trying to practice how to say no thanks, right? Is he has to do something else, right? It really just depends on the situation. Maybe, for example, his friends are teasing him that, come, let's go and smoke or let's go and do something, but there's something else he has to do and he's not under pressure. He can easily say, oh, no, thanks. I have assignment or I have to do something. And even if they start whining that, only you, they do assignment or something like that, but he's already used to being able to stand his ground, basically, right? The other option is also being able to let them know that they can have alternatives, right? Instead of doing certain things so that they don't have to deal with the pressure. And what am I saying? For example, someone is calling them to come and smoke, they can say, oh, no, I'm not smoking. Let's play FIFA instead, right? So giving them an option where someone is inviting them to do something wrong, but they can also be able to create another activity that doesn't allow them to succumb to any kind of pressure, right? Or someone is saying they should drink. No, I'm not drinking. However, I will join you for music, right? So it's just coming up with different things. They could even crack a joke saying, if I do this, my mommy would beat me, or and I don't want mommy to beat me, right? It could even sound funny. And then also just having another friend that can cover up for them. Because let's not lie, a lot of people have entered situations where if they just have someone else to tell them, no, don't do this, right? Are you stupid? Just having like an older person, which is why that peer to peer thing I mentioned earlier on is really, really important. Just having someone else that can look after you or look after your child at school so that they don't make crazy decisions. Because the truth is that we're all coming from different backgrounds, right? And once they come to the school, you can't really control certain things. You can only make them understand the fact that actions have consequences, basically, right? Then, in terms of the other question of how do you monitor digital activities, I know that now you have social media platforms where um, there are certain codes or um, things now you can do, even on DSTV. You can control what your kids watch. You can also set digital boundaries too as well in terms of screen time. Maybe, for example, No phones after maybe when they come back from school, like 3, 4. By 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock, they only have 1 hour to use their phone. They're able to like control the access that they have. I think Instagram has this. I know that iPhone you can control screen time where the phone can go off at a particular time. Basically. Then there are also other tools you can use to be able to like watch it, but also just also explaining to them why you know them carrying out these actions can affect them and what the consequences will be in the long run. Basically. So yeah, I don't know if I answered your question well. So yeah.
All right, I do hope that Abubakar, right? No, that's Victoria. That's Victoria's question. I do hope she's satisfied. Let's okay, recovery theater. You have an intervention or a question? Okay, if recovery theater is not ready, let's take the next question from DM. This one is coming from Moyo Sore. Moyo Sore. Sorry, it's kind of doing this. I don't want to finish. Okay, Moyo Sore, you have two questions from Moyo Sore here. The first one is, what coping strategies can adolescents adopt when dealing with feelings of sadness or loneliness? Uh, yeah, okay. Then the second one is, how important is emotional intelligence in preventing depression among our young people? Thank you. All right, thank you too, Moyosori. Okay, that's those are the two questions from Moyosori.
Okay. Thank you so much for your story. So, in terms of coping strategies that adolescents can adopt to stay healthy, um, is talking it out, right? You need to let them know that instead of shouting, right? Because, like I said, you model what the parents do. Instead of shouting, know that it's okay for you to be able to like share your feelings with your friends, parents, teachers, or mentors, right? Creative expression. I mentioned journaling, letting them know that they can write, right? It could be drawing, or they could draw, or even play a sport, right? Or distraction through productivity. It could be reading. For some people, reading is a form of escape for them. It could be volunteering, right? Also, faith and spirituality, right? Depending on the church or more community where you can ask questions, right? Oh God, why is this happening to me? What is going on? And someone being able to explain to them. So those are the healthy ways in which people can cope. However, the unhealthy ways, which you also have to be careful about, is if you don't create that safe space for them, they begin to withdraw and then you start complaining that Tunde is not always talking, right? He's always keeping to himself, right? Or every time they're always on their phone, right? Or they begin to enter the risky behaviors of using drugs, alcohol, because the truth is that alcohol and drugs are forms of vices where people are just trying to numb pain, right? Or right? And at the same time, it could end up even having unsafe sexual activity or self harm. Many people begin to cut and burn. So those are the things we have to be careful. And don't feel bad. The most important thing is as you join this session, right, you've been able to learn what to do and how to begin to implement. Because the issue we have in Nigeria most times is that we feel like by flogging, and don't get me wrong, I think flogging is good, right? But not every single time. You have to explain the reason behind it. Then, in terms of the role of emotional intelligence, right, for the kids to be able to avoid being depressed and more, is the truth is that you need to help them identify emotions, right? So instead of them saying like, I feel bad, they can say stuff like, I feel lonely because my friends ignored me today. Do you get? So they need to be able to name the emotion. Naming the emotion is the first step, right, to controlling them. So you have to be able to identify emotions. So the emotion feels lonely, because right, and then the second step is regulating the reaction. So instead of exploding, right, emotional teaching, how can you calm down? So you have breathing exercises, pausing. So you could tell them that okay, when someone does a certain way, before you react for 3 seconds, for 5 seconds, right? also empathizing with others. So empathy is about understanding what another person is dealing with, right? It's about understanding what the other person is struggling with, right? There's a difference between empathy and sympathy. You're not necessarily going through it yourself, but you understand what that person is dealing with, right? For example, someone coming to school with dirty clothes, maybe the family cannot afford it. So instead of you saying that you are poor, you are broke, which can lead to bullying, understand that family and then see how you can help, right? And then making better decisions, which is teaching the children that instead of succumbing to peer pressure, weigh the risk, right? Understand that if I put my hand in fire, it's going to burn me, right? Understanding that every action has consequences. And also seek help early, right? There should be teachers around in the school or counselors, right? That big uncle, big auntie that they can easily run to if they don't know how to deal with a given situation, basically. Because the truth is that we need emotional intelligence. Without emotional intelligence, sadness can easily spiral into depression, and loneliness can even push teens into joining bad gangs online, right, or even offline. And so, with emotional intelligence, right, the same emotions can become teachers because they are guiding them towards resilience, empathy, and maturity, basically. So, yeah.
All right, thank you very much there, Mr. Dare Asobele. All right. Okay, I've been going through quite a lot of questions here. I want to be receiving them to be sure that we're not wasting time on those that have been answered in your presentation or in your responses to some other questions. Okay, let's take, I have how many? Okay, let's read this one from Ola. Thank you, Mr. Dare, for your presentation. I heard you just talk about spirituality as part of solutions to some of the challenges being discussed here today. Even at that, we still have quite a lot of children from religious homes who are neck deep into these vices. Don't you think we are exaggerating the efficacy of spirituality, or what do you think is responsible, even when these children are brought up from religious homes, yet they still do worse than even those from ordinary families do in terms of substance abuse and other social vices. All right, that's that from Oliver. I will still consider one question from him later. I have quite a number from him. Please go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yes, I mean, the truth is, most times, and
You take a child to report to the parents to see how we can work things out. The father is into drugs. What do we do? That is one. We've seen parents making their children, telling their children they must always come first. That I'm giving you extra lesson teachers, you have no reason to not to come first. And the child is afraid to go home. We have seen students that committed suicide. That's another thing. Then there was an issue of this phone problem. Don't we tell children not to bring phones to school? The school has a line. If you want to reach home, you can always use the school line. Some parents will give PM, sleep, come back for prep. You understand? And then maybe you can do some games and sports. That one is not there anymore. It is you are reading from morning till night lesson. And the child said we knock. We've been saying this thing. I don't even know why government is not listening. I don't know if and even if you can help us to tell, look, that the children cannot be in classrooms from 8 till 6. It will not work. They need to go to, close schools, classrooms at 2, go and rest. And then if they must have lessons, well, they will come back around 4, then 4 to 6. Then you go, then 10 o'clock lights out. This is how we did it in our own time. So many issues, but I pray that God will help you using this avenue to improve lives, because a lot of children are in problem. A lot of them, they have adult problems. They are alone. There is nobody to guide them. There's somebody has 30 something children. Sometimes they don't even know that this is my child. So I yield the mic at this point. Thank you all.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. I am me quite a lot. She dropped quite a lot there, but then let's allow our guest speaker to attend to the ones directly within his purview, and then the one, or just only one question posed at the NDLA. I'll respond later. Please go ahead, Mr. Derek.
No, I mean, she was just giving a comment of the work that has to be done and some of her experiences, basically. And I agree with everything that she has said. But I also want to beg you that please don't give up. I know, like, teachers nowadays are not really appreciated like that in Nigeria in terms of the work that you do. So I'd just like to encourage you. I don't know if you're also in the group. Maybe when we are planning, we can also even come and visit if you are in Lagos. Though I don't know where the school is, or just see how we can come around.
Obviously,
Um,
she's in Kaduna or somewhere around that area. Yeah.
okay, okay. So yeah, just encouragement. So I don't know, Mr. Femi, if you like to say something. So,
All right. Yeah. Thank you very much. I think the area that concerns us there, virtually, it's obvious that she's speaking from, I mean, experiences, things she's seeing directly. I mean, these are life issues, and then that you can't really, nobody can take for granted or contradict, because things we experience, we see every day in our day-to-day interventions and all of those things. But when it comes to, um, yeah, that question keeps coming up, celebrities, quite a lot of issues there, really. I agree with you, celebrities, and so one of the, I mean, the things we have been first, NDLA is an organization that is set up by a law, and then we work within the purview of our law. We really cannot, if you see all the things we do when we arrest people, we prosecute them, and this is done based on exhibits, that is, substances recovered from them, because without exhibits, without which are evidences, exhibits that we present in court to let the court to prove before the law, before the court, that this person has committed this, these are the things caught with these individuals and all of that. Now, coming to celebrities, quite a lot of them, uh, like you rightly said, mislead our young people by glamorizing or glorifying. You may not, you don't have the exhibits, you don't have them caught with exhibit, but you know they are abusing illicit substances, so, or even glamorizing or glorifying. One of the other things that we do is engaging with them, also trying within the same sector to raise other individuals, other influential persons to send out counter messages or promote, I mean, messages that that sensitize our youth to be of good behavior, to reject abuse of illicit substances, and all of this we have also been doing, engaging with these individuals at the personal level and at the level of their associations, their collective groups. In the course of trying to do this, we do engage with, for instance, for those in Nollywood, we do engage with the leadership of that industry, that is the Nollywood Guild of Actors. That's Nigerian Guild of Actors. We do engage with them, and we're still in partnership with them up to today, trying to work with them. They work with us, and we try to ensure that they also have some influence on the content pushed out there by their members. That is one. Then at the level of the musicians, we also partner with the Performing Musicians Association of Nigeria, that's PIMA. We've had engagements with them, we had meetings with them on how to also leverage on their influence on their members to say that they don't push out the wrong content that will mislead our young people. That we have also been doing very well. There are quite a lot of available evidences to that effect. But in all, this is beyond just an agency of government alone. We are also working with other agencies of government that have direct control over this content. Just because this content, that's not outside of what NDLA can do, outside of NDLA's powers. But then there are also some other agencies of government that have some level of control over these things. And part of the things we have also been doing is to engage with them so that they can also have a way of regulating or controlling the ability of these things to go into circulation, so that they would not be consumed by unsuspecting young people. That's exactly what we are also doing at that level. And overall, it's beyond what just the NDLA can do. We all have a responsibility also, like our guest speaker had said, we control what our young people can consume on their phones or on the TV at home. We have that's parental guidance. So all of this, with all the stakeholders involved, we continue to sensitize everybody on what they have to do so that these people will not continue to be victims of people who are pushing out the wrong narratives that end up misleading our young people, confusing them, and pushing them to do the wrong things under the guise of following or trying to do what their role models or celebrities or their influencers do. I do hope you got some satisfactory response there, but if not, we're still ready to engage with you. That's I am me.
Yes, thank you, sir. I'm very all right with the satisfied. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, madam. Okay, let's take the next one from Abdul Malik. Please go ahead. You have the mic.
Thank you very much, Mr. Femi. Am I audible?
You are very loud and clear.
Good evening, everyone, and a good day to you, everyone, from wherever you're joining us. Thank you to our guests today for having such a brief but impactful presentation to spark this, long conversation. So I was almost, tempted not to speak today, but during the course of the discussions, it just reminded me of someone who I met during my rehabilitation program. So that person was into drugs, very purposeful, positively inclined. He had a bright future ahead of him. He was gifted and talented. But at some point, when we were discussing, he opened up to me about almost attempting to commit suicide. He slit his wrist, because he wasn't understood. He wasn't listened to. That's at home. So I think it was when Miss Loretta was talking that came to my mind. And after his program, during his recovery, he was so positive about his future, and then he started having family, issues again, which nearly led him back to relapse. However, that person is no longer with us today because he during the flood in Meduguri, he drowned during the flood in Meduguri. So may his soul rest in peace. What I want to add to my intervention is to make our previous speaker, because I heard her speaking with passion. I heard her speaking from a position of wanting to see positive change, and Mr. Femi has done justice to ensuring that she gets a a purview or a big scope of how difficult it might be, because I was doing a research yesterday about these drugs issues, and I come to understand that there is a bill that is yet to pass. And I believe that, and even the agency itself, it's more or less not underfunded per se, but it's struggling to do a lot of things at the same time. So I just want to remind her to be positive minded, and to know that it it's for all of us. All of us are in this fight. And for our presenter, I just wanted to ask him a question on sustainability and stability. So do you have any sustainability plan or stability, how you make the schools or communities take ownership, because particularly secondary schools? Because I read yesterday that about 30% of secondary school students try drugs, and I was a victim of, once upon a time, I was part of the statistics. So I just wanted to ask about any sustainability and stability plan for teachers like I am me to take ownership, and do something positively. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the question, right? I mean, we've come to the right place in terms of who will be best person to answer that question, which will be Mr. Femi. But for my own part, right, my own personal goal is just to try and, help, let's start, and hoping that, other people to enter into the rooms and start having, like, conversations like this with the major stakeholders, right? So first of all, I want to say a big ups to NDLEA for what they are doing, right? And I'm really impressed because honestly, I didn't even have an idea that this was some of the programs that they were doing. So in terms of my own part, I mean, we have an idea. I'm happy to share it. I think the idea is we need to train teachers, right? In terms of the sustainability in schools, we need to train teachers on how to be able to deal with these cases. But we're in Nigeria, everyone has issues that are bothering them. So we need to be able to train teachers in terms of them knowing how to be able to respond, right? So in them knowing how to be able to respond, they can easily pick something up. For example, when someone is already talking about, there was something that happened many years ago where a student, a secondary school student, was asking his peers about, okay, what are the various ways I can take my life? But they were just laughing at him and suggesting things. Lo and behold, this boy took his life. But if these students had been taught that someone making such statements is a red flag, they would have known what to do. Do you get? So being able to train teachers so that they in turn can then be able to train the students would go a long way. Having mental health drug age clubs, NDLA clubs slash mental health clubs in schools would really go a long way in terms of sustainability. Integrating mental health courses or topics into the syllabus will go a long way. Low cost resources, posters, right? Do graphics in the school campaigns, having national conferences, right? That all secondary schools can come to, can be a way of creating sustainability, basically, right? And if we're able to finally have like general meeting with the PTA, like someone suggested, I believe it was Loretta, where there are annual PTA conferences regarding what parents can do better, because I know that parents are working hard. They are going out from as early as 6, coming back in the evening. They barely even have time to spend with their kids because they're trying to make money. And you realize that some of these issues, if you ask, is because the parents were not present. So how do we balance it out where the parents can be present, right? And then also being able to have like a proper agency. I know that the federal government has like a mental health, I think it's federal, there's a mental health agency that has been created. If they can be partnerships where, there's a state coordinator, there's routine check-in, like each class has a routine check-in where they are checking in. Imagine having a course where for 40 minutes, 1 hour, the teacher is just checking in on everyone to know how they are doing, what exactly is going on, and those are ways that I think that things can also be able to change, right? Even the way we prepare people for WAEC. I mean, I saw online recently, I don't know if it's true, that people were writing exam into the night. I'm like, why? You can imagine someone writing exam into the night for WAEC or one of these exams, like what that would do to someone's mental health, having to wake up very early and all of those things. So it's about changing the mindset of the syllabus and the culture for us to be able to talk about sustainability. We also need funding for this too. We're going to need money to be able to do this as well, and then create like a system for this. Well, yeah, I'm curious to also hear what Mr. Femi will also have to say in terms of this as well. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, there, our friend, Mr. Barry, for that explanation. I would also like to add to this very well. I know Abdul Malik has been following our activities very well, very passionate and committed young man there. And I would like to remind us that indeed on the 30th of July this year, just barely 2 months ago, no, not up to 2 months ago, sir, the chairman chief executive of NDLA, General Marwa, actually led a team of his management. I was part of that team to visit the Minister of Education, and I would seize this opportunity to also commend the minister. I mean, we had a very robust discussion, not only that the discussions were very robust and positive, but indeed decisions were taken there and then. Decisions were taken there and then, and I'll tell you that virtually everything the agency took, that's the Minister of Education, I'm talking of Dr. Maruf Alausa, virtually everything the chairman chief executive of NDLA presented before him on the things that we need to do in partnership with the Federal Ministry of Education were all approved by him. And there and then a technical working group was set up that's between the NDLA and the Federal Ministry of Education on how to implement all of this. And I'm sure some of us followed some of the statements that came after that, the publications and the media, both the print and the electronic media, in regarding this, talking of creating substance use prevention unit at the Ministry of Education. That meeting led to the creation of a unit in the Federal Ministry of Education on substance use prevention immediately. Another thing that was agreed at that meeting was also the issue of the review of the curriculum of a secondary school to accommodate, to take it, I mean, to accommodate some of the new dynamics in the problem of substance abuse in schools. And so that was also, and I'm sure we'll be seeing all of those things come into play in the next academic session. Part of the things that was also, okay, this was also, there was also a promise that this would also be cascaded to even primary school, because we also see primary school students already abusing illicit substances, and that's why in our own advocacy effort, which we call War Against Drug Abuse, WADA social advocacy initiatives, we don't really categorize any layer of education as too young or too immature to listen to these things. We have to take the messages to them, even though designed to take care of the different age brackets, and that's why we're also having WADA clubs in schools, that drug-free clubs in schools across primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions. All of these are going around in partnership with non-governmental organizations and civil society organizations that work in this field. Then we are also designing programs for schools. If a part of the programs that was agreed on that, there is standalone programs that will involve parents, teachers, and students would be introduced in all the schools, that standalone program that will be basically on sensitization, drug use sensitization in all the schools across the country. All of those things are coming into place, that I can tell you. And that was also how the issue of drug test also came into being, even though this has been going on, but then beyond what we have been doing, that also was adopted as a national policy that day. And the implementation of this nationwide is being worked out, even though quite a number of states have also adopted this in their schools. I can point to a number of states that are already doing this, and quite a number of schools are also already doing this. I know, for instance, University of Abuja here is already a policy, part of the admission, admission policies for students to show, to present drug integrity test certificates. All of these things are being done. So quite all of these programs. And then part of also the things agreed at that meeting also involves getting organizing trainings for schools, for teachers, that is on drug education for teachers across the. Also, what the TWG, that's the technical group, is also working on to ensure that how this will be made. For me, just may likely be the center of coordinating all of those trainings in partnership with our other international partners. With this had also been going on under the Unplug program by the UNODC. We're working with UNODC on that. It's just that because of limited funding, these have not been able to go around the country, but that is also going. And all of this will work towards ensuring the sustainability and the ownership of these activities, of these programs across our schools across the country, both private and public sector. That's both public and private schools across the country. I believe that would be my contribution without saying too much beyond what I'm allowed to say at this point in time. All right. Thank you very much, dear Abdul Malik. I believe that satisfies you. Or can we take one more question before? Okay. Okay. Thank you, Abdul Malik. Let's quickly see if we can take one more question before we round up. Our time is fast spent. Let me see who's there. Okay. Okay. Let's take this one from Sophia. Sophia is asking. Okay. Okay, let me take this one from her. The pressure often hides behind smiles in teenagers. I'd like to ask our guest speaker to please, in the course of his engagement, some of the simple signs that he believes parents, teachers, and friends should look out for, and how they can support, how they can offer support without judging. All right, I believe that will be your the last question, Mr. Derek. And then when you answer that, you also give your closing remarks so that we can call it a day on this conversation today. Thank you. Please go ahead.
All right. So first of all, what some of the things you want to look out for, like changes in mood. For example, withdrawal from friends, family. All of a sudden, they prefer to just be alone. They get irritated easily. They get angry easily. Mood swings or over small issues. Pretending to be okay, but you can clearly see on their facial expression that they are not, right? Another way you can also see something is wrong or signs are decline in school performance, maybe drop in grades, loss of concentration, or they're even skipping classes, loss of interest, right? So they stop enjoying hobbies. Maybe they usually play football, all of a sudden they are not interested. They usually would go out, they are not interested, they just want to be indoors. Some of the physical signs would be change in sleep. Either they are sleeping too much or too little. It could be change in appetites. All of a sudden there's weight gain or weight loss. It could be extreme. Complain about constant headaches, right? And this is usually like triggered by like stress. There could also be digital clues, like posting sad quotes. When someone's always posting something sad on their WhatsApp or social media platforms, or even coming up with dark jokes, right? Or they are listening to songs about pain, right? Sudden silence online, especially when this person is usually active, all of a sudden they are no longer active. One you should really be concerned about is also when they begin to give out their personal items, especially when you know that these are things that really mean a lot to them, or writing farewell notes, or talking about feeling empty, tired of life, or asking questions like, okay, why am I even here? These are things you should know that, okay, I should be concerned, right? Then, in terms of how to offer support, don't accuse that and say, oh, you are depressed. Instead, just say stuff like, oh, I've noticed you seem quieter lately. Do you want to talk? Or I care about you. I'm here to listen, right? And then also listen without judgment. Let them express themselves without you even cutting in or just swapping in to give solutions or criticism. So yeah, so then offer practical support. Encourage healthy routines like how they should sleep, exercise, less screen time. I also mentioned journaling earlier. You could get them a journal that, what, next time you feel overwhelmed or something is bothering you, just write down your emotions and also just stay present. Small, consistent actions like eating together, check-in messages could also be physical, like, oh, how's your day? Sit them down. Maybe they know that, okay, every 30 minutes after school or an hour after they eat or 30 minutes after they eat, they're going to talk to mommy and daddy. Do you get? And then just connect them to help. So you might also be in a position where you don't even have the capacity to help. Maybe you yourself are also struggling. I know one of the speakers spoke about doing some research and found out that maybe someone that was struggling with drugs, the father was also like doing that. So you can see that in that position, the father will not be in the capacity to help. So encouraging them to, you encouraging them to speak to someone, or you encouraging the school counselor to be able to help you talk to them, or even reaching out to professionals like on this space now would really go a long way. And then just involve trusted family members, faith leaders, or friends to be able to assist, basically. So yeah, those are the ways that those are the signs you can observe, and then those are the ways that you can be able to help out, basically. So, yeah. And then I'm supposed to give my sorry, Mr. Femi, I wanted to say something.
Your closing remarks. Yes, your closing remarks. Yes, I wanted to remind you about that.
Okay, yes. So I just want to say, like, I want to beg everyone listening now or listening later, don't just let this be a session. We've been here for, I believe, 2 hours where we just talk and we don't take actions, right? And, big ups to the NDLEA for coming up with this initiative. But let us be able to say 5 years from now, 6 months from now, even a week from now, that as a result of this conversation, we started seeing certain changes. Just do what you can. Don't be discouraged. I know it can be discouraging, right? Where it's like, okay, what's the point? But just start, right? They say the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. So let's just start what we can in our own space, and you'll be surprised with what can come out of it. So I'm just encouraging everyone. Let's just do what we can, and I pray that God will continually help all of us. And well done, Mr. Femi and the team, and Francis for inviting me. And yeah, so that's just it for me. Well done, everyone.
All right, thank you very much. There, that's our guest speaker today, Dare Asobele, who is the founder and coordinator of anti-suicide and depression squad at ASAD. He's a dedicated mental health advocate and social impact leader with a profound commitment to fostering well-being. He's been with us for the past 2 hours and he's giving a very good account of himself. Thank you very much, Mr. Dare, for finding time to be part of this conversation today and for
Thank
that
you.
brilliant presentation. Thank you very much. We do hope we take up we proceed with the relationship from here onward. And we also like to appreciate everyone that has been a part of this conversation, whether you joined via our Facebook page or our YouTube channel. Thank you very much. And for every one of us on the X space here, thank you very much for being part of the conversation today. All of those joining us from across the world, thank you very much for always, even in spite of the time difference, you still find time to be a part of this, knowing exactly what is going on back home and contributing. Thank you. We appreciate all of you. I'd like to especially thank Dr. James Komalafe. Dr. James Komalafe, thank you for your contribution. We also have Dr. Loretta Ekanen. Thank you very much, Dr. Loretta. We actually thought the network problem is only an African thing. We don't know that it also applies to those in the US. Thank you, anyways, because they used to mock us before, but that I think we're on the same level. Thank you very much, dear. Don't just forgive me. You people used to drag us, so any opportunity we have to drag you small to make use of that too, so that we know that we are created equal by God Almighty. And Madam, I am me. Thank you very much for your contribution and the great insight. We agree with you, and we'll continue to take it further by God's grace. We're doing quite a lot in that regard, especially as to regarding our conversation, our meeting with the Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Maruf Alasa. Quite a lot of progress is being made, and that I can assure you. And we will be working with all the schools, whether in the private or in the public sector, by the grace of God, as we make progress in that regard. Yes, thank you, Abdul Malik. Yeah, thank you. Always my pleasure to have you and listen to you contribute. Thank you very much. For my colleagues here, that's Rita, Musa, Francis, Dele, Mahmoud, Kumbi, Philemon, Victor, Blessing, Inobong, Miriam, Sini, and the rest of you. You know, I cannot mention all your names, but then we appreciate all of your support and contributions behind the scene here. Thank you very much for making this program another success today. Next week is another time we would be coming with another topic with another guest speaker, just in furtherance of this whole effort, so that we can take the message to all the nook and cranny and to as many people that need to hear about it, take decision. Take action and take ownership of this whole effort, so that together we can save lives. Indeed, what we're doing is to save lives, and definitely God Almighty would help us. All right, that's the much we can take. It's thank God. It's that time we say thank God it's Friday, but then let's remember that we have to do everything in moderation. Let's abstain or refrain from going or doing those things that may give us momentary pleasure and a lifetime regret. Let's avoid taking illicit substances or going into actions that may lead us into troubles that would not enjoy. So stay safe, and let's hope that by God's grace we would see you next time by God's grace. That's next week as God lives.